Welcome once again to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for returning. If you are new to my channel and you are into software development, please subscribe because there will be a lot of software development videos so that will help you. So today's task, we are looking at 0x0EC structures typedef. So a checker for this particular task will be released today, 12 p.m. Now these are some of the resources that I want you to look at. If you will be able to look at all of them, you must at least look at some so that you'll be able to understand what actually are. Now the general things that we are going to know is what are structures, when and how to use them, and also how to use typedef. Now these are the requirements. So they allow editors that we are required to use. We have the GI, the Vim, and the Emacs. All your files will be compiled on 2004 LTS using GCC. And all your files will end with the new line. And also, anytime you create a directory, you must make sure you have your README file at the root of that particular folder because it's mandatory. And also you must make sure your code uses the Betty style because it will be checked with the Betty style. Then you are not allowed to use global variable. All your header files should be included gathered. So before you perform this particular task, we have to first of all look at the quiz or take the quiz. So when we come here, these are the solutions to the quiz. In case you are finding it difficult to answer the quiz, then you can just follow my video, which will help you to answer the quiz. Now when you are done answering the quiz, then we can now move on to the task. The first task is 0, which is copy. The first thing you are supposed to do is to launch your sandbox. After launching your sandbox, you change directory to your root folder. So to do that, you type cd root, then you hit enter on your keyboard. Now when you come over here, you can see that we are performing this particular task inside our ALS low-level programming repository. So for us to be able to work on this task in this particular repository, you are supposed to change directory into this repository. To do that, you type cd, then ALX low-level programming, then you hit enter. So right now, when you ls inside the ALS low-level programming repository, you can see that all the previous tasks that we have performed or we have done, you can see all of them over here. So the next thing for us to do is to create our directory 0x0e structures typedef. So you can copy the name over here, head over to your terminal and type the command mkdir, that's make directory command, and paste the title of the file over here, the folder over here. Then you hit enter on your keyboard. So right now when we ls, you can see that our directory has been created successfully. So it is inside this particular directory that we will be performing our task today. So the next thing we are supposed to do is to cd, which is change directory command, into this particular folder. Now over here when we ls, we can see that everything is empty because we only created an empty directory. Now you can see that from the beginning of our video, I told you guys that anytime you create this type of directory, the first thing that is mandatory that you are supposed to do is to create your README file. So to do that, we are going to make use of our VI text editor. So to do that, you type VI, then readme.md. Now the .md over there is just an extension for markdown files. So the README that we are creating is a markdown file. Then you hit enter. Anytime you open a file with your Vim text editor, it opens in the command mode. So for us to be able to make any edit onto our file or any update, you are supposed to hit I on your keyboard, which will now take us to the insertion mode. Then we can now type whatever we want to put into our readme. So we are going to use heading 1, which is the hashtag key. Then I'll come here, copy the heading of the task that we are doing, come back to the terminal, paste. Now when you are done editing your text using Vim, to go back to the command mode, you click escape on your keyboard. Then you can now type :WQ. The W over here saves or writes the changes that you've done to the file. Then the Q will quit and return back to the previous page. So you hit enter. Then right now when we ls, you can see that we now have our readme file over here. So the next thing to do is for us to push it to GitHub. So to do that, we type git add git commit, then I'll type created readme file. Then you type git push to GitHub. Then the next thing that we are supposed to do is to create our header file. So to do that, okay, we are going to create this dog.h, which is going to be the file that we are supposed to create. So to do that, you type vi dog.h and hit enter. Now we are in the command mode, so we can now click I on our keyboard to go into the insertion mode. Then from here, we can now type our code. Now all the codes that I will be writing, I'll provide a link to them in the description below. So if you are following and you are not able to understand anything over here, you can just click on the link, go back to the code, look at them, and we take it. So this is our dog.h header file. So you can see that we have if ndef dog, then we define our dog over here. Then we have our structure dog. Now remember, over here they say we are supposed to define a new structure type dog. That's why we have our struct dog over here. Then these are the elements that they are supposed to have: name, which is character, then float, which is age, then owner, which is car. That is why you can see the element over here. Then over here we have two function prototypes over here. Okay, we have the void init dog, then we have the void print dog. Then we have our typedef over here, which is struct dog.t. Then dog.t, new dog, then car name, float. So these are the elements that we declared inside the structure over here. Then we now have another prototype, which is void free dog.t and this. Now anytime we have a function starting with void, that means it is a non-returning function. This applies to almost all programming languages. So anytime you write a function and it begins with void, just know that it is a non-returning function. So when you are done typing the code, hit escape on your keyboard, type :WQ to save and return to the previous page. Then over here we are going to test our code with Betty to be sure we don't have any errors. So to do that, we type Betty space, then the name of the file, then you hit enter. So now over here you can see that we don't have any error. Betty has passed our file successfully. So now we can now push it to our repository on GitHub. To do that, we type git add, then git commit -m, then I'll type created dog.h. Then I'll do git push. So now our dog.h has been pushed to GitHub successfully. So the next thing that we are supposed to do, if in your case the checker has been released, then you click on check code for you to be sure that everything is successful. Then we can now move on to the next task, which is task 1. Now over here, it is saying that a dog is the only thing on earth that loves you more than you love yourself. So we are being asked to write a function that initializes a variable type of struct dogs. So you can see that in our header file, we put this prototype over there. So this is the function that we will be writing now. So to do that, come down here, copy the name of the file, which is 1init_dog.c. Come to your terminal, type vi and paste the name of the file over there and hit enter. Then in the command mode of your vi, hit I to enter the insertion mode. Then we now type our. When you hit the I, this is the code that we will be typing. So you can see that we have include our header file over here, which is dog.h. Then this is the function that we are being asked to write. Okay, we are being asked to write a function that initializes a variable of type struct dog. So this is our function. When you are done writing the function, you click escape on your keyboard to go back into the command mode. Then you type : write and quit. Then over here you hit enter, which will take us back to the previous page. Then we can now use Betty to check our file to be sure there are no typos or errors. When it is passed successfully, as you can see over here, then you add it using gate, then you commit. So normally I come here to copy the name or the description of the tags, paste it over here, then I can now do git push to GitHub. When you are done, you can now use your checker to check the code if your checker has been released. When you are done with this, we now move on to task 2. Now task 2 is saying that a dog will teach you unconditional love. If you can have that in your life, things won't be too bad. So we are being asked to write a function that prints a struct dog. So the prototype void print dog, struct dog, this prototype which we place inside the header file, which is dog.h, we are going to make use of that function over here now. We are going to write that function over here now. Then the format is, we are supposed to see the below example, as you can see over here, this type over here. Now if an element of D is null, then we are supposed to print nil instead of this element. Now if name is null, print name nil. If D is null, then we are supposed to print nothing. So to do that, we come down here, copy the name of the file. Then we come back to our terminal, we type vi, then paste the name of the file and hit enter on your keyboard. Now in the command mode of your vi, hit I on your keyboard to enter the insertion mode. Then we can now write our code. Okay, so this is our code over here. So you can see that we have been asked to write a function that prints a struct dog. And this is the prototype, void print dog. So that means we are supposed to now write this void print dog function over here. So we are saying that if D is not equal to null, then the whole of this code over here should execute. Now the first condition or statement over here is that if D name, which is an element, is not equal to null, then we are supposed to print the name on a new line. Else, if it is equal to null, then we are supposed to print name nil. Then we are supposed to print the age over here. Then the next one is if owner is not equal to null, then we are supposed to print the owner. Else we are supposed to print owner nil. So this whole statement that is here, okay, which is over here, we have written this code to satisfy all of these statements over here. So when you are done with this code, you click escape on your keyboard, then you type colon write and quit, which is WQ. Then you hit enter. Then we can now use Betty to check our code. After Betty has passed our code successfully, we can now add it, commit it, so I'll come and copy a dog will teach you unconditional love. Hit over here, hit enter, then git push. So when you are done, you can now click on check. You can now click on check code if your checker is released for you to be able to see whether everything is successful. Then we move on to the next task. I'll provide a link to the code in the description below so that you can click it and see where the codes are so that you can go through the code. Now, if in case you are stuck or you have a blocker on the way, you can either email me or you can pause the video, go back to the start of the video, play it, and follow accordingly. Now that we are done with task 2, which is saying a dog will teach you unconditional love, if you can have that in your life, things won't be too bad. We can now move on to task 3. Now task 3 is saying that outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. So we are being asked to define a new type dog T as a new name for the type struct dog. So to do that, we come here, okay, to copy, to reopen our dog.h file. So when you come here, you type vi, then your dog.h again, then you hit enter. So now we are being asked what? To define a new type dog underscore T as a new name for the type struct dog. So that is what we have done over here. Okay. So type definition struct dog underscore T. So this particular code that you see over here is for this particular task, which is outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. So what you do over here, just hit escape on your keyboard, type colon WQ to return. Then you can now type git add git commit -m, then you type outside of a dog is too dark to read, paste, then we can now do git push. So you can see that when we do git push, everything is up to date because we have already written this code. So the next thing that you are supposed to do is to click on check code if your checker has been released so that you'll be able to check your code. Now we are moving on to task 4. A door is what a dog is perpetually on the wrong side of. So we are being asked to write a function that creates a new dog. So the prototype that we use in our header, which is dog.age, we are going to create that particular function in this file. So you have to store a copy of name and owner. Then we are supposed to return now if the function fails. So to do that, you come down here, you copy the name of the file, come back to your terminal, you type vi, then you paste the name of the file and hit enter. In the command mode, you hit I to enter the insert mode, then we type our code. After typing our code, which is our function that we are being asked, you can see that the whole of this function over here satisfies this statement that we have over here. So when you are done typing your function, you hit escape on your keyboard, then you type :WQ and hit enter. Then from there, you can now type Betty, then the name of the file, so that we use Betty to check whether everything is working or everything is without errors. After a success, then you can now add it to your repository. So we do git add git commit -m. Then our message is going to be the statement that we have at the top here. Come back and paste it, hit enter, then you do git push. When you are done and your checker is released, you click on check code. Then we now come to the final task. So how many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. So what are we supposed to do over here? We are being asked to write a function that frees dogs. So the prototype is the void free dog. So we are now going to write this particular function in our file. To do that, you come to the bottom over here, you copy the name of the file, come back to your terminal and type vi, then you paste the name of the file, then you hit enter. Then over here in the command mode, hit I on your keyboard to enter the insertion mode. Then we can now type our code. I will provide a link to the code in the description below, so that when you click on it, it will take you to where we have all the codes that we have written today. Now, if you have any error along the way, please restart the video and follow step by step. So this is our function void free dog, dog T, then D. So when we are done typing our function, you hit escape on your keyboard, then you type :WQ and hit enter. Then over here, we can now use Betty to check our code. After a successful pass by Betty, we can now do git add git commit -m. Then I'll come here and copy this particular description. Come back to my terminal. After committing, then I'll do git push to now push to GitHub. When you are done with this, after pushing to GitHub, then you click on check code if your checker has been released. Then you now check your code. When you are done with this and everything is successful, you have completed the task 0x0e C structures type def. So please, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, because there are a lot of software development videos coming up so that we all grow together. Thank you.